I feel like we'd be the old guys of the Muppets sitting up in the box giving our.
Okay, who are the two biblical characters that are like that? Who are the two old hecklers of the Bible? They don't have a small role, but I really feel like it would be Elisha and Alicia. I feel like those would be the hecklers. Like, can you believe these guys? They didn't listen to a single thing we said. Yep, told you that was going to happen if you disobeyed God. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Bearded Bible Brothers. I am your bearded host, Matt Crosswhite, joined by bearded Josiah Marshall. How are you, sir?
Hello. Doing well. Having fun on this fine morning. How are you?
Yes, it's good to hear your voice on a Friday. Usually we record these on Mondays, so I got to start and end my week with the great and wise Josiah Marshall.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it.
You don't have to. I do. You don't have to. I got it. But today we're doing a special episode because, drum roll please, this is our 50th episode.
Yep. 50. God burn. We've been doing this
and who'd
now.
ever thunk a couple of hillbillies from back in nowhere would ever get this far?
Yep.
But I interrupted you. You were about to say something.
I was just saying, yep, it's our 50th episode, and it's pretty darn cool. We've been at this now for over a year, and it's so we wanted to spend some time reflecting over that year and things we've learned, things that's changed for us, and what we look forward to in going forward with the episode, with the podcast. And yeah, it's been fascinating. I never thought I'd be doing this, honestly, because I think you might remember me telling you, Matt, that I didn't really understand podcasts
Right.
until you told me, well, let's think of it like a radio show. And then it dawned on me.
Yeah.
It's
just pre-recorded.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's yeah. So I actually was a part of a group of guys that we did a radio show down in Cedar City, Utah, years ago. That would have been 1999, 98, 99, right around in there. And I enjoyed it. We actually had a lot of fun with callers. They would call in and we'd start chatting about various things. And one guy in particular, he was a student. So we were working at a studio on Southern Utah University's studio campus, radio studio. And a student from the university started calling in and using, what's his name? It was the one of the characters off of the VeggieTales Jonah movie. And we would have some crazy, wild, weird conversations, usually about VeggieTales.
Yeah, for sure.
It always made it interesting and eventful, to say the least. But I know we haven't done callers, but we have had a few people write in. Has there been a memorable email that we got that you found impactful for you?
I really appreciated the listener that wrote in and asked us to address the how should a Christian respond, or what's the biblical response to homelessness, especially here in the West and in America, where homelessness for many is a choice. For many it's not, but for many it is, because of the many resources available. And then the biblical response and how to behave and interact with the LGBTQ plus community. So
Mm, no.
those were some really good questions to ask, and I really enjoyed our conversation about it. And I hope that those bless some folks. How about for you?
Mm.
Any of the ones stand out specifically in your mind?
Well, it was that one. It was that
Was
one.
it?
I hadn't really and I really appreciated him because he was just so honest and humble
Yeah.
in approaching these subjects and saying, "Hey, you know what? I don't know about this." And that's one of the my kids think it weird, and my son has a very strong reaction when I say the words "I don't know." And
But you
I've
that
always
I can kind of get behind him on that. Like Joel, if you're listening to this, I totally understand it because your father is the great and knowledgeable Josiah Marshall, who has met
no.
and interviewed World War II survivors, both on the American and Japanese side, who's been everywhere. And yeah, so I get that. That that doesn't rock my world.
Well, I'm not trying to make that sound boastful. It's just I appreciate humility, and
Yeah.
I know that sometimes in my own life I have. I'll be honest to say I have struggled with humility in thinking that I know more than I think I do when I don't. But I just really appreciated that guy, and I it was also what I appreciated also about the request was that it humbled me in talking about homelessness when I'd never really had a conversation about it. And I even went
Yeah.
back and I listened to the episode at one point, and I thought, well, maybe I could have been a little more structured, but it was nonetheless a very good conversation to have, and I'm very thankful we got to have that conversation. So it was good. It was really good.
Indeed.
It was very good.
Indeed. Now I'm trying to recall when we started this whole thing out. Maybe I should have listened to episode number one before we did this today, but did we tell our listeners how we got this started and how your wife was encouraging you to start this and stuff like that? Have we told that story?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We even told it during the 25th episode, I believe.
Ah, see, well, I just wanted to be thorough.
I listened back to that first one, and we used to have that intro, um, welcoming people, and
Yes.
we eventually did away with the intro, and then we even started adding that little comedy bit almost. I guess that's the best way to
Yep.
describe it to the front end of the episodes. So we've definitely come a long way as far as our ability to record, to conversate. uh,
Yes.
listening to that
Absolutely.
first one, oh, you're great.
We have grown together, that is for sure. And our first series was a Revelation eschatological series,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to believe that was a full year ago. But um, during this last year, while we've been recording this podcast, I've also been teaching a line by line, verse by verse Bible study with a group of people through the book of Revelation. And we will be recording, or we will be doing our very last episode of that, or sit down of that, on chapter 22 this coming week. And so it's been 48, 49 sessions. And I can honestly say that quite a few of my thoughts and understandings of eschatology have remained very steadfast. But at the
Mm.
exact same time, quite a fair number of them have been tweaked or amended, or maybe not altogether altered. Some of them have, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've grown a lot in the last year, and honestly, it's hard to believe it's been a full year.
Right? That just it doesn't even feel that long at all, but it definitely blink and oh, hey, years gone by.
Yep, yep. It's like what they say with kids: the days are long and the years are the months are short.
Yeah, right. It was fun though recording that and just seeing the overall interest, more so in just statistic numbers. Um, our
Mm,
Gog of Magog, that was the number one listened to episode out of that original series. People were
okay.
very interested about that particular subject out of the Revelation study that we did. And I remember explaining, even when we were doing that, about my own struggles with eschatology and the end times within
Yeah.
biblical theology, more theology than just biblical writings. And I grew a lot by doing that one because it was just a subject that
Cool.
I struggled with.
Yeah.
Um, More on a personal level, and I explained that in some episodes. And so
Sure.
uh, I think it'll be a lot of fun though to be able to what I'd like to do is be able to post some of these recordings that you did with these Revelation classes, so that we can more people could get to hear more about Revelation and some of the more details that you've come across in studying it.
Yeah, for sure. The way that we recorded those classes, it was really just meant for if anybody missed a week, they could. I'm just uploading them to my own personal Google Drive and stuff like that. So the sound quality is not there. There's conversations from across the room that are very very quiet. But I've been entertaining the idea of that sounds too passive. I've been really considering how to take the content of what I and some of my friends have been learning as we dive deep into the revelation, and how to put that out there, whether it be here on Bearded Bible. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really have an interest in having my own podcast just for that and put it out for 45 to 50 sessions and then just calling it quits at that point. I've kind of had half an idea to take the main content of it and put it in a book, but
Mm-hmm.
um, as you and some of our listeners well know, my family and I are in a significant time of transition, all of
Mm-hmm.
which is very positive. If anybody's concerned for us, we're doing great. Um, God's opening some really neat doors for us, but um, so I don't know when I'll get around to doing that if the book route is the option. But yeah, I've been chewing on it and praying about it. Lord, what do you want for this next? Was it just for my edification and the edification of those who live in my vicinity and appear at my apartment on Tuesday afternoons, or is this for a wider audience? So we'll see what happens with that.
And I would go ahead and put it out there, folks. If you're interested, email us. I think you would benefit from it and find it a big blessing. Matt is a great teacher, and he does a great job in being able to connect with others with Scripture. And so I don't doubt at all that you would benefit greatly from being able to get a copy of these and listening to them. So feel free to write in, and maybe we can get Matt to burn some CDs or even find a cassette player and copy to a cassette.
Oh my goodness.
We can go retro, man.
Go retro. Well, yeah, we'll put them on 150 8-track tapes, and the listener has to pay for shipping.
Yeah. In
Oh
some
man.
ways, thinking back to that first episode, it feels like we've transitioned a long way from being on 8 tracks to doing something a bit more put together.
I don't know that we were that rough. Maybe we were
No,
cassette tapes.
no, we were no, I wouldn't put it that way. We were raw. We were definitely a little
Yeah,
we were
we had no
learning
idea
how
what
to
we were
engage with
doing.
each other. No, but we had fun doing it.
We sure did, and
What
we
was
still
one
do.
of what was one of your favorite topics we've discussed over the this past year?
Um, I'm gonna play fast and loose with the word enjoyed. Um,
Okay.
one of the ones that I most appreciated that we did
Uh-huh.
was the conversation about what's going on in Israel and Gaza.
Mm,
Um,
hmm.
that October 7th was an enormous event, and even today, a lot of the world has kind of moved on from it, or has pretty well developed their opinion of which side is right and which side is wrong in this, and with a lot of inflexibility, which I think is also just kind of a commentary on where we're at in our world today. There's very little open dialogue and appreciation for different perspectives. The art of agreeing to disagree has almost completely vanished. But
Mm-hmm.
and so it's hard to even have conversations about very, very difficult, polarizing things without them just completely disintegrating and potentially friendships and relationships being lost. But I really appreciated that we were able to do that episode. I obviously have my own thoughts and opinions about it, as shared.
Yeah.
But I appreciated whether anyone else listened to it or benefited from it, or maybe they just listened to the first 20 seconds and heard what direction it was going and shut it off. For me personally, it was a really good opportunity to just talk it out with you. And
Mm-hmm.
because like I said in the episode, that really, really grieved my wife and I on several different levels. And so
Mm-hmm.
it was a good opportunity to talk. And maybe we did educate some people and share some of what maybe mainstream or other news sources didn't delve as deeply into, or if they touched it at all. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was one of, and not favorite because of the topic, but that's one of the ones I appreciate doing most.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, especially in just the opportunity to just conversate about it. And it is actually still standing as our number one
Is it
downloaded
really?
episode. Yeah, yeah, it is our number one downloaded episode of our Israel and Hamas special episode that we did. And I appreciated it because you have you have spent more time than I have in being able to keep up with what's going on over in Israel and a lot of the history between Israel and Hamas. And so you educated me even on that episode. And I just appreciate that we get to have those kind of conversations.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that people were tuning in to not only to be informed, but to also find out what they could be doing. At least that's what I hope. For me, it definitely gave me a perspective on what I could be doing. As far as prayer or as far as finding a way of helping or supporting people, especially when you started talking about the farmers. Oh man. So
Yeah.
you're hitting very root fundamental issues for just people in general from combat and war. Food is going to be a necessity. And when farmers can't bring in their or have a hard time bringing in their crops, it's going to impact so many. And
Yeah.
it's amazing just how even some of those things that you don't really think about and how it can impact a war or even how things transition going forward. And so that was an impactful, at least for me, it was definitely an impactful episode that we talked about that. And one of the
So
other
I was just gonna ask what was one of your most memorable or enjoyable episodes?
well, I would actually I will use your word. I appreciated it. There was one that I really thoroughly enjoyed doing, and that was talking about our mentors.
Yes.
It was an honor to be able to tell others about John Cowan, especially, and John Fornoff, the Johns.
John
The
Squared.
Johns, how that name has been in my life. That one, I really enjoyed that one. And the one that made me laugh the most, I think, was Celebrity Crushes. That was so funny. That was so funny. But I was going to comment to say that one of the more challenging ones for me was our original church series. And we had gotten into, what was that, episode 13 or 14. And I had been doing a lot of studying on the word kirke, which is how we get the word church. And it just bothered me to my core. And you took the time out of our recording to just listen and help me even just process that out. Because I know there's a lot of podcasts out there that are very polished. They might even have scripts. And yet, one of the things we've wanted to do here is just to have a conversation and enable others, people to join in. And what better for a conversation to be than when it's very honest? And so that was a very challenging topic for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
To dive into, but I'm glad we did, because it helped me process a great deal. I know we've hinted at it over time, but I think it's safe to say now that yes, if you haven't guessed already, folks, at least for me, I stepped out of evangelicalism for a few years. And it wasn't just COVID related; it was other things. My wife and I had to step out before COVID, just due to our own personal health and the challenges we were experiencing after many years of working in Christian ministry. And so we had a lot of things we had to process, and being able to do that topic, especially with you, really helped me continue to process things that had happened to us, and offer questions about what we're doing and what we're doing going forward with our not only with our relationship with God, because our relationship with God has been better than it ever has been. It's just continuing to grow deeper and deeper, especially on a not just even on a relational level with Him, but even just a biblical level as well. Just getting to know the Scriptures in its Jewish context has been life-changing. But also to be able to look at our relationship with other believers, and being able to make decisions now that we never would have really thought of before, as far as the boundaries we have in our lives and the people we allow in and out, and in varying degrees around that boundary that we have in place. And so it was very good. I really enjoyed the fact that, looking back now, I enjoy the fact that we got to do that topic.
Yes, so. It wasn't easy in the moment, but I'm glad we visited that as well. And then it was also really neat for my family and I to come up and visit you guys in northern Utah, and get to attend the church that you guys were, as you were kind of checking out what churches to plug into after that period of several years of having stepped out. You were kind of courting a couple of different ones to see what might be a good fit for you and your family. It was neat to be part of that process as well, and get to attend one with you and dialogue about it. Obviously off air from the podcast, but it's been neat to walk that part of your journey with you too.
I appreciate it. And I was actually going to bring that up too, because walking the journey the relationship you guys have had with Israel has been amazing, because it's not something. Your journey has helped me appreciate more and more about the importance of supporting Israel as a believer.
Good.
I've supported Israel before, but when you're interacting with you and listening to you talk about it, it's definitely helped me appreciate it even more, and be more proactive and engaged in knowing what's going on over there and what's happening, and being sensitive to not only what Scripture's saying about Israel, but really even what residents and citizens of Israel are saying right now, and where they're at in life, and how their strugglers and are very similar to anyone else's. It's nothing different. So in
a lot of respects
about your
it's nothing different in a lot of respects, and then in some respects it's totally and completely unique from any other people group on the planet. And just just the idea that in Tanakh, in the Old Testament, from Genesis all the way through at least Zechariah, probably further, very, very near the end of the First Testament. In Genesis, God made a promise to Abraham and said, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. And he never revoked that. That is still in place to this day.
Yep.
And when we talk to churches or pastors and I when I'm feeling more bold in the conversation, I ask them, are you in any way supporting Israel? Because do you want your church to be blessed? Do you want your family and your personal life to be blessed? Because this is what God said. And there's no revision to that anywhere in the text. And then all the way up through Zechariah 8 in Tanakh. And it talks about the Gentiles, the Goyim, coming in and serving the Israelites. And they will grab a hold of an Israelite's robes and say, teach me. And that's everything in between. All the narratives in Tanakh about the Gentiles, whether they're Gentile God-fearers or Gentiles who become Jewish and become part of the culture, like Rachel and Ruth, and others. It's just amazing, amazingly disappointing, I guess. Wow, I'm totally taking the podcast in a really melancholy way, aren't I? But it's just really, really disappointing. Christy and I we were very, very grieved at what happened on October 7th. And then secondarily, we were so extremely grieved at the lack of evangelical or Christian at large support or even care. There are specific ministries and specific congregations and churches that did and were very vocal about it. But by and large, Christendom cared for about a week and a half until the Israeli government launched their campaign in Gaza, and then everybody believed the secular narrative and completely flipped and started calling for a ceasefire. It's just getting geopolitical again, but it's all biblical, guys. Support Israel. They're not perfect. None of us are. God's chosen people are God's chosen people. And we really, truly would not be here today if it weren't for them. Okay, I'm hopping off my soapbox now.
You're doing fine, man. No, that's definitely what this is for. We have our moments of being able to do that, and I couldn't agree more. And not only just about Israel, but even just topics that people would. I've been challenged to care about, such as the eschatology. I never really gave a lot of thought to end times, and the people that I've interacted with over my life that are into that sort of thing have been a bit extreme, and especially with where they take it. And so to be able to re-engage with that topic, at least in a more, in my opinion, more balanced way, I think has been very good for me, especially in just being able to look at it again and say, you know what, this doesn't have to be a traumatic topic for me, as I was talking about once before. That it is a traumatic topic, and it can people's various levels of just fear can definitely impact their engagement with that topic. And so I'm glad we were able to do that and be able to. One moment I remember very clearly in doing that series was being able to say how much more it is to be able to trust God in those end times, that he's going to continue to provide as he said he would provide even for the Israelites. I was reading scripture yesterday about these promises, especially in the Shema, and about what God said He's going to do if they follow through on their commitment to Him. And it just reminded me back when I said those words that He's providing now and He's going to provide then.
Yes.
And if I don't have to be concerned that when God comes back, I'm going to get lost in the craziness.
Right.
No, He's going to know exactly where I am, whether I'm in the ground or I'm meeting Jesus in the sky. And He's going to take care of me, even in those moments. And so I'm more and more thankful for that. And it's deepened my relationship with God and knowing more about who He is and how I can trust Him. I have made Him my refuge, and I'm thrilled to be able to tell others about all of His wondrous deeds and what He has done, what He's doing, and what He's going to do. It's just so awesome. So awesome. So we've covered a lot over this past year, and I mean a lot.
Yes, we have.
We've gone through topics of church. We've had our fun moments of even talking about comedians, who our favorite comedian was.
Yep, favorite books, favorite movies.
Yep.
And we would be so remiss if we closed this episode without talking about the one where our wives were on with us.
I was gonna, yeah.
I don't know that they'll ever be willing to do it again, even though they said they would. They might not. We'll see. Or maybe they'll come on just to set a couple of records straight.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I remember my wife rolling her eyes a couple of times.
Yes. There were significant eye rolls on my side of the screen as well. But all of them deserve it. I can't say that it was that they were flippant or undeserving.
Yeah. And my wife afterwards going, "How on earth did you get me to do that?"
Oh dear. And Christy had a lot of fun. I'm sure she would do it again. And if we can get Christy on, Heather will probably jump in.
Probably. I think she would for sure. But oh wow. Well, it has been 50 episodes, and it has been a wonderful time of conversing, growing, learning. One of the things that I've definitely gotten out of all of these 50 episodes is more resources. I love having resources available, and I have gotten so many more because of because questions challenge me to go and just find resources to help me understand a topic better. And I'm not even looking for answers anymore. I'm just looking to understand something even just a little bit better if I can. So that's definitely been another thing I've appreciated about this past year. Anything else for you?
I just want to sign it off by saying it's been a terrific 50, and I look forward to the next.
Amen to that. Well, folks, if as always, if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, arguments, debates that you want to have with us, we would appreciate you writing us in and telling us about that. beardedbiblebrothers@gmail.com. And we look forward to hearing from you. Until then, we thank you for your listening. We thank you that if we've impacted your life in some positive way. We would look forward to hearing that even. And so until next time, God bless and keep reading your Bible.